All right. Test, test,
Test.
test, test.
Saw this just today. We've talked about this on prior episodes. Alec Baldwin, actor, had the very unfortunate accident on the shooting of the film Rust, where he accidentally, unfortunately, tragically shot and killed a crew member with what he thought was a prop gun. It was actually a loaded gun, which was a very shocking story, and he was facing some charges. The charges are now dropped as of I saw that today. So obviously a very unfortunate accident. But for him, certainly this was good news there. But I'm sure there'll be some type of settlement or whatever it is here. But at least, from his perspective, he's not facing any, jail time or anything like that. So it definitely seemed like it was clearly an accident. So I don't know. So certainly our thoughts continue to go out to the poor woman who lost her life. But
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. You have any thoughts on that story?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. It wasn't his fault. There were, like I've said before in past episodes, you can check it out in the archives. There's way too many steps that should have been taken before it got to his hands.
Right.
And I guarantee you now that after this, the different actors will at least also look.
Yes.
And double check no matter what.
Yep.
But yeah, it shouldn't have got to him. It was unfortunate, a horrible accident, and I'm glad that he's cleared of it. But again, it's a shitty situation all the way around. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, if anything happens, is what you just said. So hopefully the extra precautions will prohibit anybody else from getting hurt or losing their life as well, unfortunately. So
yeah.
Okay. I thought this was interesting. Netflix has made a big announcement that very soon they're going, as of September 29th of this year, they are going to stop shipping DVDs. I had no idea.
Doing that?
Yeah, I had no idea they were
I
still
had no
doing
idea
that.
either.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Netflix, their 25th anniversary was last year. And yeah, so this is the big news. 25 years, they've decided to wind down their DVD.com this year. So fascinating. So that's obviously where they got their start and grew to, they certainly were competing with Blockbuster. Then
it's like if Coke said that they're going to stop putting cocaine in the drink. I mean, I thought they stopped doing it years ago.
Yeah, interesting. People probably still do it, just because they never wanted to, succumb to the streaming, and or probably people do it for the retro experience or whatever it is, I'm sure as well. So it doesn't say that how many people were still subscribing to that.
But, it was four people.
Yeah,
they got them into a room and said, "Sorry guys, but we're gonna have to stop this."
Yes. So here's some trivia for you. The first DVD that they ever shipped, I'm not going to make you guess because it's there's no way you would even know. Beetlejuice was the first DVD ever shipped on Netflix. So there's some trivia. Again, don't say you never learn anything on this
That's right.
podcast. Yeah. Last week you learned what a Roman helmet was. You go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
And this week now you've learned the first DVD shipped by Netflix was Beetlejuice.
You come for the funny and you get education.
Absolutely. That's right.
All right.
We're using it as a tagline. I like that.
All right.
We'll put that in the promos and so forth. Were you a Mad Magazine fan as a kid growing up?
I was.
Did you read that? Yeah. Al Jaffe was a longtime artist for Mad Magazine for many years.
Mm-hmm.
He recently passed away, 102 years of age. Bless his heart. You might remember he had the ongoing bit in the magazine, snappy answers to stupid questions. If you remember this or not, it was like somebody would ask a dumb question, and then he drew the characters of somebody asking a dumb question, and he had various answers that you could retort that dumb question with coming from the other person. So it was a funny bit for many years.
Well, in honor of him, I'll
Yes.
ask Hunter 2, how did he die?
I don't know that it says exactly.
Actually, you should have given me a snappy comeback.
I know.
That's really the way that would have worked there.
I know. I couldn't think of one. See, Al Jaffe would have been very disappointed, I'm sure.
He would have been very disappointed.
Yeah, so I had two I couldn't do simple math and figure out 2023 to 1987 earlier. It's 36 years when I graduated high school, and couldn't think of a snappy answer to a stupid question. We'll just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe we'll work it in if a dumb question comes up. Maybe when Nick comes on, we'll ask him a dumb question or something like that. See if we get it. Anyway, loved his artwork. If I saw his artwork today, I would recognize it. He had books of the snappy answers with stupid questions and various collaborations. I had a few of these books around the house somewhere still, probably to this day, probably in my parents' attic even now. Yeah, so Mad Magazine was definitely a very it was a staple for me as a kid. Mad Magazine and Cracked Magazine. What's that?
I would say it's even influential for children of that day, because it stuck in like actual smart politics.
It did.
In the guise of comedy and cartoons and all that. So I think you learned a lot more as a kid than what you thought you did at the moment. I think a lot of things seeped in, and you kind of got to experience a lot more.
I agree with you. It was really an adult magazine, right? So obviously you were allowed to read it. Sounds like as a kid I was as well. So I talked about this on the It Came From Gen X podcast last week too. And when I would go grocery shopping as a kid with my parents, I loved the experience because they would let me go to the magazine rack and I would sit there and read Mad and Crack magazine while they shopped. And then 9 times out of 10, I would get to pick a magazine. They would buy it. And I would take it home. And I have quite a little collection from late 1970s Mad and Crack magazine with just excellent artwork. Like you said, very smart humor and parodies of some of the great 70s TV shows and movies, of course, like Star Wars and MASH and all kinds of great stuff. So just very, very good. It was really kind of our earlier glimpse into one of the closest things we had to the internet back then, frankly, as far as being able to look at humor that was kind of a little bit racy and interesting and everything else. And I think that helped kind of develop some of the humor that even is carried probably with us now. So you could thank Mad Magazine for this horse shit, guys. In a way, absolutely. I know I have a picture of me somewhere in grade school, Dean, with an Alfred E. Newman T-shirt. Not only
did my parents let me read Mad Magazine, but my dad actually often said that I resembled Alfred E. Newman because I was weird looking and I had big ears and some freckles. Yeah,
absolutely, sure. Whether to bring this up or not, but I want to get your take here a little bit. So, making a lot of social media news is this whole dumb Bud Light campaign. Have you seen this?
I have.
I'm not saying the campaign is dumb. I just think the reactions it's just very interesting what people get kind of riled up about here. So it's a transgender person who is helping advertise Bud Light. Really, that's kind of what it is at the end of the day. I think this person was a TikTok influencer. I think very popular.
I don't know. I think I don't know who the person was. I know they're transgender.
That's what she is. So it's a 26-year-old TikTok star. So it just people really got up in arms over Bud Light. Trying
people were
to be
burning their Bud Light and throwing it away, and I have the different places I've gone to. I've heard stories that people were mad that these different grocery stores still had Bud Light on their shelves.
Isn't it a special can or something as well? Did they change the can or something like that? Okay,
Like this. I thought that wasn't the person on it.
maybe that's right. Yeah,
this girl was on it, and there was like rainbow in the background. If I remember correctly,
that's right.
Yeah, if I don't. First of all, I've said it before on various podcasts here. There is nothing, even if it did bother me, if there was something that bothered me, I don't care that much about anything to boycott anything.
Yeah.
Right? No, that's not fair to say. I'm sorry. I do care a lot about a lot of things, right? But I don't care that much to get angry. People have their opinions about, like, say, what is the chicken fillet, Chick-fil-A, right? Whatever your views on that, I don't care that much to, like, if I want Chick-fil-A, I'm getting Chick-fil-A. I don't, unless the owner that you have a problem with is handing it to me, and even then, I honestly probably would still take it just so I could eat Chick-fil-A. Granted, I don't eat Chick-fil-A, but I'm just saying, if you're going to name yourself fucking Chick-fil-A, you better have the goddamn best Chick-fil-A sandwich, which you don't, so I don't. Anyways, Michael Jackson, allegedly, he did what he did to some kids out there. He, diddle popped him and whatnot. He's still a great artist. I can separate music from artist. So if I drink Bud Light, which I really haven't since I was in my 20s, if somebody hands me a Bud Light, or I'll drink it, but I don't go search it out. I just can't imagine being that angry about a corporation doing something that makes me go, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Maybe I'm lazy. Maybe I'm a lazy, I don't know, person, activist. I don't know what the fuck you call me or call it.
I don't think you're lazy. I think it's just that you and I think a lot alike, and I'm sure Nick would say similar. And we'll give him a chance to give his opinion if he makes it on here as well. But it's just it's not something we choose to exhaust our energy around. No. It's like to take 2 seconds and put a tweet out there to bash a corporation over an advertising campaign or something. Now, people are harmed. Okay. Obviously, there's a line to a lot of things. Okay, but it's not an advertising in general campaign.
And of silly things that doesn't hurt anybody.
Right. Exactly. What I said on the other podcast was, I got news for everybody. It was a crappy, cheap beer before, and it's still a crappy, cheap beer. That's it.
Yeah.
If you switch over to Miller Lite instead, well, congratulations. You're still drinking another cheap, crappy beer. It's fine. More power to you. Yeah, it's fine.
What is your favorite cheap, crappy beer, Brian?
My favorite cheap, crappy beer.
If you're going golfing, you need your cooler filled. What are you putting in there? What's your golfing beer?
It's hard to go wrong with PBR.
Okay.
And Genesee takes me back as well. Genesee beer or Genesee cream ale. Those two were staples when I was a young person starting to drink, because my dad had Genesee around the house a little bit. So it always made me think of him, and that my younger days with my buddy Jim. So Genesee, you name it.
Okay.
How about you?
If I'm going golfing, I'm doing Miller Lite.
Yeah.
It's
a drinkable beer.
I enjoy Coors Light as well.
Too Coors Light's like 2 molecules away from water.
Right. My brother-in-law used to call Bud Light, Coors Light, all that sex on a beach, because it was near fucking water.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Smart.
That's Rob there for you, bud.
There you go.
If he's listening.
There you go. Okay, enough of that crap. So AI, Dean, is becoming more of a thing. So first of all, there is an AI story that I thought was interesting here. So There was a viral AI powered Drake and the Weeknd song. Have you heard about this?
No.
So AI actually generated a song. Someone's had AI create music that's kind of sounded like it was a Drake and the Weeknd song. I've not heard this, but it was on streaming services and doing pretty well. So it was recently taken down because it sparked legal and ethical questions.
Sure.
So it's a now deleted TikTok video. It was a ghost writer explained that AI was used to create the song, but did not disclose what program was used. So it might have been that simple, where somebody just said, create a song like Drake and the Weeknd, and this thing, whatever it was, created it. And it's just fascinating. And you could not tell. Obviously, it was doing pretty well out there. I don't know if it was disclosed it was AI or not. I'm not sure, but it was good enough to where, certainly people were listening to it. Yeah, it sure did.
Huh.
We did a story a couple weeks ago where somebody created an AI photo of the Pope in that puffer coat, which looked real.
And but you did one just recently.
Yeah, I used an app, and I just said, Einstein. It was his AI art, so it wasn't, Einstein on a podcast, and it gave some actually pretty cool pictures, and we'll post a couple up on our social media. Fascinating. In seconds, I just typed in Einstein does a podcast, and within seconds, it created that art. It's just like, wow. So it's becoming more and more of a popular thing. I started to play around with the Google Bard, which is their search engine where you can ask questions. It's an AI powered. I noticed that you can't just log in there. You have to get on a waiting list. So I added it, but I was able to get into it within maybe an hour or so after joining the waiting list. So it was actually pretty cool. And then the open chat GPT is still out there as well, where you can ask questions. And again, it's just fascinating. Within seconds, it gives you responses. I like to listen to the 60 Minutes show or watch it, but 60 Minutes has a podcast it's basically just simply an audio recording of the TV broadcast every week. You can find that out there on platforms as well. Last week, though, they did it, not last week, though, but last week they did a story about the growing popularity of AI and what it can do. And they warn you, it's got limitations. It's got what they call hallucinations, where it's sort of giving you answers that it's sort of making up a little bit. So you have to kind of fact check some stuff, to be sure if you're using these types of things. But so first, I'll just kind of pause there before I ask any other questions here. So what do you think of the songs? What do you think in general of the growing popularity of AI? Do you think it's interesting, Dean? Are you worried about it? Or what do you think? Go ahead.
I don't think we're at the I think we've had this question brought up before, but I don't think it's I don't think we're there yet to be worried about it. I think someday, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that is, if it's long or short time, but I don't think it's now. I think now it's a novelty, and like any novelty, it'll wear off.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it wears off, then you'll have like the actual evil fucking people doing stuff to where then we get worried about it. But with just random people asking to see Bugs Bunny with boobs, it's just silly fun. Something to pass the time right now.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was asking some questions, and matter of fact, I'll share some stuff here in a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I asked, one of the questions I asked, for example, was, "What's the best Star Wars movie?" And within seconds, it's smart enough to say, "Well, everything's a matter of opinion." Blah 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 blah. Sure. But a lot of people find The Empire Strikes Back one of the better movies of the franchises because it gives you it's a darker tone, and it kind of gives you some responses to it, that type of thing. I asked to give me an outline of a pop culture podcast, and it was interesting. It gave us an outline that was eerily similar to what we do, like with which is common sense type stuff for a lot of. It wasn't anything earth shattering, but it was interesting what it sort of came up with here. So I don't know, but one of the topics that came up on the 60-minute special as well was, is AI going to potentially start to take jobs from people that, using AI technology? So that's sort of our Ask an Idiot question here of the week here. So what do you think, Dan? Do you think AI is in danger of taking some jobs from people?
Of course it is.
And if so, what type of jobs would you envision that AI may
I don't know
impact?
I mean, there's some sort of writing. You can't do creative writing, but there's some general writing jobs it'll take. But of course it's going to take jobs. Everything takes jobs sooner or later. We now scan our own groceries at the fucking grocery store.
Yeah, they really
You know
tricked
what
us
I mean?
into that, didn't they? Yeah.
There's machines that puts cars together. It's our evolution. It's our lot in our evolution to make ourselves obsolete.
Yeah, that's strange.
We do it for the convenience, but it ends up, replacing us. And things do a good job. You still need people to, keep track and stuff, but in general, we are designed to make ourselves obsolete. I mean, not just AI. Look at it this way. As a human species, we are designed to make ourselves obsolete. Not just if we create this or create that. Fuck, we do it with humans. That's what our children are. They are here to replace us. That's why you have children, to make a better you. You have a child because when you die, somebody's going to stay there and replace you. So we are born and bred, and whatever you want to say, however you want to call it, we are made to make ourselves obsolete.
That's right. Interesting.
But you know who's not obsolete? Nikolai!
Hey,
a
how
very
you doing,
happy
boys?
Nikolai.
A very happy Nikolai. Nikolai is doing good. Nikolai's got whiskey. Nikolai's got beer.
Yeah.
We treated ourselves to some Wayne Gretzky's number 99 whiskey this evening.
Is that what happens when you poop all over yourself? You have to clean it up for an hour?
That's right. Absolutely.
Wow. I'm happy for you. No, I saw that the Leafs won, buddy. Congratulations.
They did. Thank you. We're on the board. The series is tied. Yes, absolutely. Boys, the atmosphere is electric. Just like our friends at RPM Bike Shop. If you don't believe me, bam, right out the gate. Right out the gate. If you don't believe me, you should check out our friends at RPM Bike Shop. That's right. They have the finest electric bikes to offer you. You could ride them right now to Toronto, Ontario, and have your own electric experience in Maple Leaf Square and feel the electricity of victory running through your veins. Don't believe me? You can go to their website, which is rpmbikeshop.com. You can also search them up on Facebook, which is RPM Bike Shop. Obviously, you can also feel free to give them a call at 330-808-7792 today. They are not located in Toronto, Canada. No, in fact, you can find them conveniently located in the Northeastern Ohio area, which is where we broadcast from, located in Carrollton. Get yourself an electric bike to RPM Bike Shop and electrically drive your way into a first round win in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs today with our friends at RPM Bike Shop. Boom. I wanted to make sure I took care of our friends at RPM Bike Shop.
Awesome. He just gets out of the
That's right. Yeah. But that's right. Boys, we have a Leafs win. Leafs win. There we go. There's the goal line right there.
Go.
There we go.
Excellent.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah, if you listen to the show more than you have, Nick is one of the biggest Maple Leafs fan on the planet. So
that's right.
Yes,
that's right.
Very happy.
So I apologize for missing the first portion of this show, gentlemen. But
it's all right.
Playoff hockey comes first. I'm sorry, but you guys come. It's a 1A 1B situation. You guys are right there. It's just a half a rung lower. So, but I'm here now.
This is very weird to me because normally I come first.
That's true. Yes, you do. Almost. Not almost. Yes, always.
Exclusively.
Exclusively.
Very quickly. Well, Nick, you jumped in right. We're talking about the Ask an Idiot question of the week here. So we talked a lot about AI on this podcast and off camera.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more prevalent. So I'd mentioned the 60 Minutes last week was talking about AI and the rise of AI and the different chat options and so forth. But the question at hand was, is AI going to start to take more jobs from people? And if so, what type of jobs do you think might be impacted? So Dean was just sharing his opinion when he jumped on here. So I know you just jumped in here. Any thoughts you may have as far as, do you see AI taking more jobs from people? And if so, what type of jobs might you think that it may impact? If you have any thoughts, good.
I would say almost certainly, because, Brian, just today, you've been tinkering around with some of the AI technology, and it's incredible. It'll give you fantastic, well thought out, well explained, answers to questions that you may pose to it. And actually, I've already heard some different podcasts I listen to and people that have backgrounds in radio saying that they're already talking about it like larger radio stations instead of, Dean here went to school for broadcasting, and certainly, Dean, you've paid your dues and worked some overnight shifts doing traffic and things like that, weather. Yep. There are people in the radio industry now, they're saying there are already big stations talking about replacing those shifts with AI, because that can very simply be done with AI. AI can easily give you well-documented weather forecast and traffic, and they can relay all that information to you. So, that's the tip of the iceberg. And as we've seen such rapid growth in technology over the last, I'll just say decade, but it's been much more than that, really. But let's just isolate the last decade in the rapid growth in technology. As this technology gets more intelligent, the limits to what it can do, who knows what it would be. So absolutely, who knows if we're someday watching news anchors that are no longer human, if they're just AI news anchors. I could see definitely things like that any occupation that doesn't require a lot of on the fly input. And even then, who knows where we could go? But I think a lot of things like that. You know what I mean? Like news, people reading off of teleprompters, reading scripts, the hosts of shows, things like that. What, Doctor Strange? What is that?
That is what happens when I typed in Happy Nick. I was hoping for a Leafs thing going on, but nope, that was Happy Nick.
All right.
Try it again tomorrow or on Monday when this is uploaded, and then they'll have this audio of Nick being happy about a Leafs win, and it'll be something like
gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So, but yeah, I definitely could foresee a lot of occupations being taken over, because you think of the overhead that companies could make that don't they really care about the human element, but if they're thinking of their bottom line, they can absolutely make tons, pure profit based off of not having to pay people for the human element that they bring to their current jobs now.
Well, you don't have to pay lunches and physical human traits, right?
Right.
But there are some stuff that you can write, whatever. It can maybe even talk, on the radio. There's some things you won't be able to do, like connecting with like a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? I don't think it has the capacity to have empathy yet, right?
Right. Yeah, at this point.
and even it's questionable, if you have them write something, an article and stuff, is it better than what a person would do?
Right.
That's arguable.
Can it capture that human element? Can it draw comparisons to something that may be exclusively human?
The human condition.
Right, exactly.
Right. Like it definitely can't save you on your insurance like Blake Insurance.
Oh!
Because Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located right here in Barberton, Ohio. They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability. Erie Insurance is above all else in service. You want to call 234-571-5359 or visit BlakeInsuranceLLC.com for your free 5-minute quote today. And when you do, tell them the idiots and not an AI sent you.
Boom.
Very good. Excellent.
Aaron Blake is such a saint. Can I tell you a quick story about Aaron Blake? So
please
I'm happy tonight, right? I'm very happy right now. Leafs just got to win. But for those not following along, Tuesday night was Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, or at least the Leafs series, and they got destroyed, much like they destroyed Tampa. But Tuesday was the flipping the script. So I was a little bummed Wednesday morning. I was at work and just probably around 8 a.m., I get a text message from one Aaron Blake of Blake Insurance Agency. Just said Leafs in 5. And in that moment, I believed.
You believed.
And I was like, dude, I needed that right now. Thank you.
That's what an Aaron Blake and Blake Insurance can do for you. It can make you believe in your hockey team.
That's right.
Or he can make you believe and know that you're getting the best affordable insurance on the market.
Very good. Yeah. Excellent.
Well done.
Well, guys, I also asked the same question I asked you to an AI chatbot, so a Chat GPT. And some of the answers it gave me was, and it gets a very thought out, I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word, but it's a very well thought out response. And again, just seconds. I asked a question, it was just like, think, and there was the answer. So in a format with bullet points, the whole bit here, I could copy this into, and it looks like a human typed this out here. So some that it's suggesting are at risk, some jobs, telemarketers.
Okay. Good. Fuck them.
So it could be used to answer service questions and make sales calls, right? Is an interesting one. Get your head around this one. Truck drivers.
Sure.
There's already self-driving trucks
now,
that are being tested.
How am I going to be on the opposite end of a glory hole from an AI chatbot? Explain that to me.
There are going to be sex robots. That was going to be the next on the list.
Okay.
You're getting ahead of him there.
Okay. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, a self-driving truck on the road, that's still hard to get my head around that here, but some say it's safer because you now have the fatigued driver and everything else. I don't know. We'll see. As Dean already kind of mentioned, factory workers.
Yep.
All right, so assembly and that type of thing. Data entry clerks. So
that's definitely good. That's going to be like number one on the list.
Yeah, redundant entry. There's automation and bots that could do stuff like that. Customer service representatives. That's already in place partly now. I don't know about you guys, but when you try to contact anybody and you chat, it seems like probably 90% of them anymore, the initial response you get is not a person. It's the chat bot that tries to answer some of your questions for you and direct you. Yeah. And you have to select to talk to a person. So that's pretty prevalent as it is. Very interesting. We're looking at a lot. It's not AI per se, but my job, we're looking at automation stuff all the time as far as repetitive work that people do, taking data, putting it into a report format and doing all these things that required people in the past. We're looking for those opportunities everywhere to try to streamline and automate that stuff to save time. And ultimately, the goal is to reduce some cost that we pay people to do some of this stuff here. So, very interesting stuff.
As I was thinking, as you mentioned the question of what other things could be replaced. I'm like thinking, like shit. Just tonight, watching the game, right? I'm like, how many years have I been playing? We've been playing sports games, and something as simple as the computer knowing the names and positions and just some taglines of things to say of plays that players run and things like that. That's something, commentators, broadcasters, that could be replaced by certainly on the radio and things like that. If it knows a couple facts that are presented, like let's say you're watching a Cleveland Guardians game and it knows, a couple fun facts about whoever's up to hit, and then it also can call the game because it can tell you every player in position, and it can just call it as seamlessly as a video game could. I mean, really, how easy would that be to do? I mean, I know we're all very attached to our sports and we like our guys and we like the hometown, whoever we like, but that's something very easily that could be replaced by, AI.
It could. I mean, I hope we never see that type of stuff. Honestly, there's
me too. For the record, me too.
There's something it just takes away from the tradition of listening to a game like that. I guess you got the local people, the excitement, it's hard to replicate that type of stuff. But you're right. In theory, for certain things, it certainly could be done. Highlights even after the fact. So maybe all the sports shows that are the Sports Center and stuff like that are covering highlights and stuff. You might. I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity there. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Any other thoughts on AI advancements or anything like that? I know we talked about it a few times on the podcast. We'll continue to watch this and talk more, but we'll also play around with maybe asking ChatGPT various questions to see what it comes up with, and we'll experiment with some of that stuff. But I did, by the way, Nick, I don't know if you before you came on, I did ask the question tonight. What is the best Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
And
I saw
the
that.
answer, it gives a very politically correct answer,
Yeah.
but I tried it in the
it's
Google
subjective,
Bard. It's
right.
still subjective. I went to Google Bard, which is the new one there, played around with that, and ChatGPT. Both suggested The Empire Strikes Back could be viewed as the best Star Wars film because of the elements, and it gave you reasons as well.
I like that it laid
sense.
it out. It gave you bullet points of like all the reasons why it is commonly referred to as, and why people think this, and it was very cool.
Pretty neat stuff here. So,
like I said, it's not choppy. It's not like some short little Siri answer or whatever.
See, this isn't easy. I'm actually, while you guys are doing it, I'm trying to find something to have it right. You know what I mean? A scene. Excuse me.
Well, the thing with AI is even if on your end, even though it may be artificial, you have to pose some sort of intelligence to the question.
No, I was trying to ask, write me a scene of the Convincing Idiots host having a threesome. I wanted to see, I thought that would be fun.
Is it just you and I entangled in a giant gray bush?
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Oh no!
That's great.
I'm trapped.
His chest hair engulfing my chest.
That's right.
That's
right.
Team with Convincing Idiots. Brian and Nick here. Like and subscribe.